In, in this video we explain how to produce animation out of the scenes that you created earlier, and here we will make use of the scenes that are connected to the path that we created, and we will see how to create a animation movie out of this motion which you see. And here it is important to know that you could have this kind of animation as part of your presentation, which you could see, or which you could show in a PowerPoint presentation, or as part of your online presentation. Here you should know that since you are connected to scenes, you could adjust many things in the process of preparation. And for example, we have the styles, the scenes and layers. You could connect the settings. You could show what you want by, for example, having the right object visible, and then you should update it to the scene. And in this way you decide in beforehand what do you want to show for each scene. And then the process starts by going to the animation and going to the settings. And here we have a dialog box in order to show us to control the animation. And the idea is that you move between one scene into another, and we have two things here: the scene transitions and the scene delay. These two basic things that will control our motion when we walk around. We could think about the scene delay here as the time that is needed to stand still on the point when we start and when we end. So when we move from point A to point B, how many seconds I should stand on in point B before going further to point C, and so on. And the scene transitions is the time that is needed to move for the motion from point A to point B. It means that if you want to move from point A till point B in a faster way, then you have to give a lower value. And if you think you want to go in a slower movement from point A to point B, you have to give more time, and then you give a higher value in seconds. And here we could test that and give an example. So here, for example, we have the settings and scene 1 and scene 2. You see the movement between scene 1 and scene 2. And if I go back, you see the movement again. So I'm moving between scene 1 and scene 2. If I go to the animation settings and change this value from 4 into 1, and then you see that it goes faster. So I know this, and if I go again and increase the value to 10, then the time will be much longer. I have more time to move from scene 1 to scene 2, so the animation will be slower. So this is something that you should decide how you want to show a certain animation, and that's why it's important to know about this. We think that 4 for the scene transition and 0 for scene delay is okay for this animation, but you could test it as well. The second thing that you should do when you have things fixed, you export it as animation. And here you go to the file, export animation, and then you will get this dialog box. And the first thing we do is we should know that we could export it as an AVI file, which is a very well-known file, and then we go to the options. Under the options we have different settings. The first that you should know is about the width and the height and the proportion of your video which will be produced. There's a connection here between all this and the final file size produced. So if you use higher value for width and height, it will produce a bigger file. So you should expect the size of the file will be much bigger. And also using the 16:9 proportion or 4:3, it's something that you should think about. For example, YouTube now is using standard 16:9, which is the widescreen format, and we will use this further in this exercise. We recommend it as well. So, and here you could decide about the width and the height, and then we come to the frame rate. Usually the frame rate for a TV is 29 frames per second, which will produce a very smooth and very good video. You could do that here as well, but then once again there's a connection with the file size. It will take much longer time to produce the movie, and if so you have to think about it. We think that 15 frame rates per second are okay for a presentation on a PC, or for PowerPoint presentation, or for online presentations. But if you want something very professional with high quality, then we recommend to use higher value. And here we should think about also rendering the anti-alias to keep it there. The codecs, keep it as it is, and also we go and try to find here the options. As we said, we keep it as an AVI file movie, which is a very well-known movie file format. It will produce a good quality, and we give a name, and here we will start the process of creating a movie out of the scenes. The process might take some time. So, and here the dialog box would show the process of exporting the animation. So it might take some time. So you should be aware of this. We will not wait until it's finished. I have made another one, so I will cancel this process. I will show you what I have produced out of this animation, and I could open it and show you the final outcome. And here you see with the results, with the settings we made, it's a loop or a walkthrough around the project with the sky, with the panorama, and it will give some kind of good impression for the site. You could produce further animation by using the scenes, and then you could save it as a movie, and then the final product of movies you could connect it together by a movie editing program like Windows Movie Maker.